The animation that you just saw was a recreation of a scene from the Star Wars Disney series called Andor. In my opinion, Andor is one of the best, if not the best, of the Star Wars series that are currently out there. I would say that The Mandalorian is the closest competitor to Andor. The Mandalorian has amazing new technology which they call the volume, with which they remove the need for green screens and make it look like the actors are in the actual scene itself. And of course they have Baby Yoda. But unlike The Mandalorian, Andor has a lot of scenes which are actually filmed in real life. For example, a lot of scenes have been filmed in the British mountains close to this dam, which you may recognize from the series. But okay, back to the point of the video. One of the first scenes from the series Andor was this scene where Andor was walking over a bridge. For some reason, when I saw this scene, I felt inspired to make it in 3D. In this video, I'm going to break down how the scene was made using Unreal Engine 5 and Blender. The first things that I did was look at the scene and identify the things that make the scene iconic and what I needed to recreate. One of the first things that you notice in the scene are these lamps, so they are really important to recreate. In the scene there is also a lot of rain, so the ground plane needs to be reflective. Besides those two things, we are also going to recreate the railing, the distant city in the fog, and the pipes on the side of the bridge. So let's get started. Let's first open up the free open source 3D program called Blender. The first thing that we are going to make are the lights. By using a Bezier curve and giving the geometry a bevel depth, the lamppost was fairly easy to recreate. Here you can see the final lamp object that we just made. Next, we are going to recreate the side railing of the bridge. If you use the array modifier, you will make the creation of the side railing a lot easier. This is because you just need to make one segment of the railing, and with the array modifier you can multiply that segment to make an eventually long railing. If you look at the reference scene closely, you can see that there are a few lights hidden in the side railing, so we will make these also using an emission material. And finally, here you can see the final railing that we just made. If you want, you can recreate the entire scene in Blender. However, I chose to re-import the assets that we just made into Unreal Engine 5. Unreal Engine 5 is another software that you can download for free. I am still new to Unreal 5, so I found it hard to figure out how I would make the ground plane look reflective or wet. Eventually, I found a tutorial on YouTube about how to make decals, and I'm not sure if this is the best method to do it, but it worked for me this time. To create the city in the background of the scene, I downloaded and used the free City Samples Buildings pack from the Epic Games Marketplace. This pack was immensely big and it took like 2 or 3 hours to download and eventually open. So I don't know if this was the best way to do it, but it worked for me and the buildings looked pretty good in the background. If you are using Unreal 5, then it's free to use the Megascan Quixel library. From this library, I took the ground plane material and the materials for the pipes on the side of the bridge. In the end, I wanted to also add Andor to the scene, or better said, an animation with a person model to the scene. However, I could not find a good human model which resembled the backside of Andor, so I eventually chose to download this R2-D2 model from CG Trader and used that one in the scene. I animated the camera and R2-D2 in the scene a little bit, and eventually this is the result that we ended up with.